basket.
Here we go.
Capcom presents. Marvel Vs Capcom.
No, Twibby.
No! Vanilla on the top, chocolate on the bottom. I can't eat this. Go back and do it again, or you're fired!
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Look, thanks for inviting us all out here to be in this, even though they're just little cameos, you know. It's always super cool to be on this set, working on an actual film, you know?
What? Yeah, whatever, fine. Okay, can you move? You're in the way of the fridge. I need to get my cheeseburger.
So, I was sort of wondering if you wanted to, like, do a video together, you know, like some sort of collab, you know?
What? Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, just script your parts, I'll script mine, and we'll do everything else when you fly back up for any reshoots and post-production.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you want to do it on?
Figure it out. I'm a very busy man. I have a show to produce. We'll talk later.
Alrighty, see you around. Ah, yes. Marvel Vs Capcom, one of the classic fighting games of our time. It features fighters from Capcom's video game franchises, along with characters from Marvel Comics. The game debuted in Japanese and North American arcades in 1998, but was later ported to the Sega Dreamcast and PlayStation in 1999 and 2000 respectively. Of course, it brought us many new and exciting tactics, auditory wavelengths, and memories into the fighting scene, and is well known for being one of the best for its time. Today, we're going to take a stab at examining the history and legacy of Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes. So, let me state something here. This isn't actually the first entry in the series, as the name implies. This is the third entry after X-Men vs. Street Fighter and Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. This is the first entry that introduced more than fighters from the Street Fighter franchise, such as characters from other classic fighting games and beat-em-ups, but we'll get into that later. As Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter expanded the Marvel roster, this entry expanded the Capcom roster. Unfortunately, the development here isn't very noteworthy, as these games were kind of released annually, like your modern FIFA or Madden games. The release window is slim, as this came out 6 months after the previous game, which I just mentioned. The main story of the game isn't really pointed out anywhere in the actual game, other than endings that show up after you defeat the arcade mode. The storyline is loosely based off of the X-Men Onslaught arc from the continuity of the comics, following an incident in which mutant telepath Charles Xavier was forced to enter into the mind of Magneto. Part of Magneto's anger slipped into Xavier's psyche, and after merging with Xavier's darkest emotions, it spawned a powerful psychic energy known as Onslaught, which is the final boss in the game. However, before Xavier loses himself to this power, he's not only able to summon heroes from his world, but, as discovered in the ending to Captain America, he's able to reach out and summon heroes from the Capcom universe as well. So, yeah, it's sort of linked together.
Now, I'm one of those filthy casual fans of 2D fighting games where, I like them, they're simple fun, but I'm not as into them as someone like Jack is. But Marvel Vs. Capcom is one of the exceptions for me. I don't know what it is, but it feels really engaging to me. Maybe it's the colorful aesthetic, maybe it's because it has characters that I grew up on in the game, but either way, I really like it. But nonetheless of my actual opinions, let's talk about that gameplay. It plays like your average fighting arcade game, but instead of picking one character, you get to choose two. Just like in the game before this, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, you can switch characters at will, and the character that you aren't playing as will slowly regenerate their health. The first player to knock out both of the opponent's characters is declared the winner. One of the main mechanics is the hyper combo gauge, which is this colorful bar at the bottom of the screen, which allows you to perform finishing moves, which are super vibrant and incredibly pleasant to look at. Overall though, the gameplay itself is not super complex. You can do combos if you want, but if you want to just button mash, you can pretty much still do that with no problems, just like any other 2D fighting game. One of the most common praises for this game is for its art style and sprite work. And I gotta admit, this game looks like a really fun and wacky Saturday morning cartoon, and I love that. All the sprites are really fluid and really vibrant, and all the characters' animations are representative of their personalities. I also like how the Capcom characters have a more distinct Japanese-looking art style. It's especially present in characters like Ryu and Strider. But when it comes to the Marvel side of things, each character looks like they were ripped right out of their respective comics at the time and thrown right into the arcade cabinet. Now, one thing I'm super particular about in basically any form of media is Spider-Man's design. I don't like it when he's too buff, I don't like it when the eyes are too big or too small, I'm really particular about the spider emblem. Pretty much everything. And they absolutely knocked it out of the park here. They basically took Todd McFarlane's art from the comics and made it a sprite 1-to-1. Also, I just gotta say, his idol animation is fucking amazing. They could've just had him standing normally, cause he's just a normal guy. But they gave him this super wacky pose, and he's doing like the Spider-Man hands, and oh my god, I just love it. Another thing I'll give this game is it never feels the need to make the art styles consistent with each other, like later games in the series do. Mega Man and Wolverine look like they're from different franchises, because they are. And even Ryu and Mega Man, who are two Capcom characters, don't look like they're from the same universe, because they're not. But even though they're in two different art styles, they still fit together perfectly. It really takes pride in looking like a crossover. Seeing all the different styles blend is such a treat, and they didn't miss with a single one of these characters' designs.
Hold on. Can we talk about the music for a second? As you can tell, I'm an expert at this kind of stuff if you just peek through my catalog of videos. Anyways, when it comes to the Versus series of games, I'm mostly speaking from Marvel Vs. Capcom 1 and 2 since I've only really played these extensively. There's a nice split divide between the house music and acid jazz of Chun-Li and Morgan's themes, along with the triumphant anthems of Spider-Man, Captain America, and Wolverine. Of course, the sound font used here is recycled between the previous entries, but to me that doesn't matter, as specific synths, the guitar, and the sax all differentiate themselves from other noteworthy fighting games at the time. Speaking of, during the late 90s and the release of the Street Fighter Alpha and the X series, along with Darkstalkers, we received a very odd but satisfying trend of smooth but engaging tracks. If I could direct you to anything in particular, I would lead you to the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 soundtrack and the aforementioned Street Fighter Alpha series. Just in case you were interested, Hi there, so as some of you may or may not know, we have been working on this video since around November because the two of us just didn't get the time to actually work on it, right? So all of my audio and most of my sections were actually edited back in November. But while the two of us were just sitting in call doing research and just talking about the video in general, I decided to put on some jams, from the game, and then he cues up some tracks from Marvel Superheroes, which was a previous fighting game by Capcom featuring some Marvel characters from this roster. And then we kind of both made a shocking revelation. Half of these tracks from Marvel vs. Capcom are actually carried over from Marvel Superheroes. It's strange, but here's a sample. understand how I didn't find this out while I was researching. But yeah, what a neat revelation. Okay, next one.
So let's talk about these characters, because I gotta admit, this roster is certainly interesting. Let's start off with the Capcom side of things. Well, it's definitely meant to represent Capcom's many different franchises. We've got Ryu, Chun-Li, and Zangief from Street Fighter. We've got Strider from, well, Strider. Captain Commando from Captain Commando, the girl with the big tits from Darkstalkers, and Jin from Cyberbots. Now, I'm gonna level with you. If you didn't know who half of those characters were, don't worry, because I didn't know either. Of course, I know my Street Fighters and my Mega Man. They teach that in kindergarten, but I don't know those nearly as well as I know Marvel. And the Marvel side of this roster is pretty fucking wacky. We have Spider-Man, Captain America, the Hulk, and Wolverine, obviously, but we also have Venom, War Machine, and Gambit. Those last three spots, I think, definitely could have benefited from being replaced with other characters. Even though he was really popular in the 90s, I really wish Venom was replaced with another character. If they wanted to go with a big heavy hitter, I would have said the Thing from Fantastic Four, because the Fantastic Four have literally no rep here. Also, if they wanted another X-Men member, they should have chose Cyclops over Gambit. And War Machine is just kinda here. You know, during the game's development, the rights to use Tony Stark in video games was kinda complicated, but the developers found out that they were free to use War Machine since he was similar to Iron Man, but not actually Iron Man. Now, like I've been teasing this entire time, there's a whole nother roster of characters to explore in the form of special partners. Now, there's an absolute fuck ton of special partners, so I'm just gonna make Jack put all of them on screen in text form to some funny music. So as you can see, the X-Men were extremely popular when this game came out, as almost all the Marvel partners are X-Men characters. The only two exceptions to this are Thor, who I'm honestly a little surprised isn't just a regular fighter, and the US Agent, who was probably only included since he's an easy Captain America reskin, but they really picked like every X-Men character to put on this roster. Seriously, a Sentinel as a special partner. They chose a Sentinel over any member of the Fantastic Four. Come on, guys.
As with the success of the games in arcades, Marvel vs. Capcom received some home console ports with exclusive features and modes for the Dreamcast and the PlayStation. The Dreamcast port features an all-new mode called Cross Fever, where it allows 4 players to fight in a 2-on-2 match simultaneously. The PlayStation port, however, features a completely different mode, Crossover. Crossover is the only mode that features tag team gameplay, as it was removed everywhere else due to the PS1's limited RAM capability. The Dreamcast port features low loading times, crystal clear sound effects, and high quality sprites and graphics. However, the PlayStation port adds some sort of weird quick zoom whenever a character throws another character, along with weird audio quality, removing some tag team stuff, once again due to the limitations of the PS1. On the review of the PlayStation port, IGN states, technically, Marvel vs. Capcom is in all likelihood the most impressive 2D fighter on the PlayStation. The game is missing a substantial amount of frames from the arcade version, but it still moves smoothly and features the best 2D animation of any other PS fighting game. The sprites and graphics do look as colorful and vibrant as they do look on the Dreamcast, but if you had a choice, the former would be your best option.
So there you have it, Marvel vs. Capcom. Honestly, it definitely still holds up to this day, and I greatly appreciate everything it stands for, especially since it kickstarted this big-ass franchise, along with that... Oh, as you might have heard from me and my funny Canadian friend, we both really enjoyed this, and the appeal to both Street Fighter and or Capcom fans, and to Marvel fans like LTI, you might be interested in trying it out for yourself.
So if you're not into traditional fighting games as much as Jack and you're more casual about it like me, I'd still highly recommend you play this wonderful little game. It's packed with so much flavor and fun that I can't help but love it. It's definitely one of the most legendary, if not a little random, crossovers of all time.
The game brings new opportunities for new matchups like Ryu against Captain America, Captain Commando against War Machine, hell, even Wolverine and Zangief, who would probably lose to Wolverine's adamantium.
Hey, I don't think that was in the script.
Wait, what do you mean?
See, look at this. It clearly says here that Zangief would triumph over all and take the throne, or king of worlds, as the prophecies foretold. or something like that.
Why don't we put that to the test then?
Fuck it, alright.
Hoorah! 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 Wow! God! Fuck! God! What? How? What? Ow! Super power!
Don't use that. Don't use that.
God! What the hell? How?
Damn, guess you just suck at the game.
How, man? How the hell did you do that, man?
Yeah, sure. Anyways, I'm assuming you're editing this, right? When will we get lunch after? Oh, shit. Chives, power level.
600% power, sir.
Alright, now remember, I'm giving you a second chance, so don't mess this one up. Although it does look pretty promising. I honestly, I think I might give you a raise. Like, this looks really, really good. Alright, I gotta go take a piss. I'll be right back. Alright, man, I'm excited to have that ice cream. It needed to happen. Whoa, what's going on over there?
Dude, that looked like so much fun. You want to join them?
Well, I don't see why not. Let's go over there.
BobGlob?
Fear not, Jack. I've come to help you.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, what the fuck?
Okay, I'm gonna go get into my suit. It's gonna look super cool. And everyone's gonna be like, oh, WanupDeShroom, you're so cool. Bingo. Hi, let's kick their asses.
Sounds like a good idea. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm down.
Guys, what are you doing? Why are we fighting over such a small and simple disagreement? The work ethic that we had going for this project that we were all summoned for quickly became tarnished, and thanks to you two buffoons. And you're the ringleader of this entire project. For shame! For shame. Such a disgusting demonstration of leadership. And you, fighting over a simple loss in a video game? I believe your hot-headed attitude is called, if I must be blunt, a sore loser. How disappointing. And the rest of you, why are you all fighting alongside? instigating more of this brawl, making much more of this mess. Now our only janitor, who is currently the Hulk, needs to clean all of this up. How disgraceful. There's only one solution. One way to fix this entire debacle. One way to fix this broken bond over a simple, small argument. I bought us tickets to Disney World.